Hi, I'm Shyam. We're a double act, we keep doing this.
Yeah.
Right, you have no idea what a privilege and a pleasure it is to be here. This is the new book, it's been launched at the Delhi Poetry Festival. When I began to write it, I didn't think I'd be standing here and launching it here, and I'm very glad that it's come about. Shyam has made me very happy because as a 6-year-old boy, there's 2 times I ran away to India. One is today, and as you can see, I've succeeded. The first time was when I was 6. I got a bunch of sweets together, I tore a page of India from the atlas, and I set off. And I only stopped because the sweets ran out, and India proved to be farther than I thought. I want to thank my dad, Dempsey, because he had the courage to let me run away from home, knowing that I would soon be back. The other thing about my dad, the mythology of our family, as I said, the unknown Indian doctor is the fantastic hero of the fairy tale. The other Indian connection that I have, beside atlases and tearing the river Ganges out of an atlas. Oh, that's another thing I used to do. I was dyslexic, so I couldn't read. So I used to make up my own world and create my own world. So I used to tear the pages out of the atlas, put countries and rivers together that didn't go together. I would glue them onto so my mother would come into the sitting room and the river, the Dnieper and the Nestor would be crawling up the piano legs. I would have the Ganges and the Nile torn out like 2 little wriggly serpents, and I would race them across the table. It may be of some consolation to you that the Ganges always won. And one day I was doing this, and I had a whole world on the living room floor, and my mother came in and said, "My God, Dónall, what are you doing? Clear up this mess at once. Clear up this mess at once." I had to clear up an entire world. Not even God could have done that in 5 minutes. But there was I, forced to by a mythological mother who thought, he can clear up this world in 5 minutes. Let's see him do it. The other thing is that my dad served in the United Nations peacekeeping force in the Congo, and you think that he'd have all memories of the Congo, which indeed he did have, but one of his most abiding memories of the Congo was the Indian soldiers. He said they were so warm, friendly, affectionate people, and he kept on saying about this, and I thought, wow, and that was the one story I always remembered. And now I know how warm, friendly and affectionate Indian people can be for myself, and that's what I needed to know. The Indian man who appeared before me was Shyam, and I had never seen an Indian person before, and I met him through friendship. I met him through poetry, but friendship, affection, love, warmth. He's the host with the mostest. He's an irresistible force, hence I'm here. I couldn't possibly resist him. And he's such a lovely, lovely man. I'll be reading a poem for him as well. I'm going to start off by reading you a poem in Irish that I read yesterday, simply for you to get the idea that I also have a dual language. My language is more lost to me than your language is. I didn't grow up with my mother saying, "Nobby Dónall nish pashti," which means, don't be bold now, children. You need that at the knee for language to stream in like that. Our language is so lost to us that I would use the word Ganzi. I say, where's my Ganzi? Ganzi means jumper. It's Irish. I thought it was an English word, because that was one word that was left alive for some reason, your Ganzi. So, I also was madly in love with my Uncle Michael, and I used to ask my Uncle Michael, when did that happen, Uncle? And he used to always say, oh, Ullastraw, Ullastraw. Now, Ullastraw is not only an Irish word, it happens to be my favourite Irish word because of the emotional connections. It's an archaic Irish word. We don't use it anymore. And Ullastraw means the day before yesterday. Why you would need a term for the day before yesterday, I do not know. But everything happened Ullastraw. Or he would tell me, oh, that was a granny ago, that was an uncle ago, that was a brother ago. So, in my mythology, people were my timepieces. I knew things happened a granny ago. I could figure that out. I didn't need a date, a year, a time. It happened a granny ago. That was people are my mythology, my metaphors, my poetry. There's 2 things that you should know about me. 2 things I love. People and poetry. You put the 2 of those together, God, am I a happy man altogether. Right, so this lovely lady down here is Janice. And you know what to say, the difference a day makes, but by God, the difference a woman makes. So this is when I met Janice. And this is also an archaic Irish word. It's called Gran Macree. It's an old-fashioned way of saying Gra Macree. Gra Macree means love of my heart. And Gran Macree means love of my life. So it goes like this. Ulla straw the gra gun istam. Ac anish the gra gakin och gakin rud. The day before yesterday, your love unknown to me. Now your love everywhere, everything. So, I will now proceed to write, this is just pure whimsical. English teacher, school copybook, new poem. This happens to be the last poem I wrote before I set off for India. So I'll read you the last poem and it's called Maybe an Ant or Two. And yes, it's a metaphor for memory and stuff like that. Maybe an ant or two. After the picnic, they rolled up the sky, folded up that particular patch of grass, plucked a few trees, put the sun back in its box. The kisses they hid deep within themselves, so that many years later they could unroll the whole shebang, savour the same scenario, down to the dotted I, down to the crossed T, maybe minus an ant or two, dressed as it is in memory, but keeping the essential ingredients, the you, the I, until once again it is just as it was. Thank you. Now we've got to find my other poem now. Oh, Sean's poem I've lost. Not bad. This poem is all about my little girl, Tilly. And she used to look at the world and she made me re-look at the world, and I saw the world through her eyes. She was my best teacher. If you want to get a mentor, a guru, a teacher, get yourself a little girl. Okay? This is called The Only Way of Looking at a Bird. She looked at the bird with all of herself, as if by some alchemy of thought she flew into its shape. As it became the air, her mind opening its wings to the sky. The house now a little blue egg far, far below her. Her voice curving into a beak that flung its beam into a song of self scrawled across the sky, becoming a sunset so that becoming human again was a grief that could only be expressed in birdsong. Thank you. This is called One Small Step. Sean, did you dress yourself this morning?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. It shows. Right, this is called One Small Step. Anybody who's had a little girl, this might be familiar to you. Vest on, inside out. 2 legs in the one knicker hole. Shoes on, back to front. I dressed myself by myself. So I see. Thank you. One of Tilly's delights was watching me shaving in the morning, and this became ritual magic for her. I'm sure if you spoke to Tilly now, this would be part of her mythology. Mythology as easy as watching your dad shave in the morning. Rites, myth, magic. It's called Mr. Daddy's Soft. Always her fascination with me shaving. This, her early morning ritual, observing each action as if it were holy. I hide my face in foam. Santa Claus, she chants, winces with delight as the razor she gulps goes over my bump without, gasp, cutting it off. The shaving uncovers the me she knows. Soft, Mr. Daddy's soft, she gurgles in a lather of laughter. Me now me, she pleads with me. I take the brush, coat her reflection with foam. I shave her with the tip of my little finger. Her reflection sniggers and she sniggers too. Later in the early evening, she appears bearded in fresh cream. She shaves herself with a lollipop stick. Me, daddy now, see? I cha-cha-cha her on the tips of my toes as she clings to my fingertips. The living room dances around us. One delighted half-shaved little girl. One delighted soft Mr. Daddy. Thank you. As I said about the cloud being asleep in the field, she would come in to me. Things usually happen with Tilly bursting in through the door and go, "Hey, guess what?" And this is one of those days. It's called The Smell of Purple, which is the title of the collection. She says she can smell yellow. She says she can smell blue, despite not being able to spell either colour. Yellow smells the same as blue, like a wet kitty drying by the fire. Red smells like mummy when she kisses. Her kisses smell different when she kisses you. Then she smells like flames with little orange tips. Purple is my favourite smell. It smells just like a magic spell. I kiss her goodnight like violet, only lighter, with little flecks of purple scattered here and there. Cow counting. She counts cows. A cow, another cow, and another cow. It doesn't all add up as yet, but she's got the gist. How many cows? Millions. She's discovered hyperbole. The 4 cows enjoy being millions. Moo the moo over her. Moo. They can only say moo. They're still only, I tell her, learning to talk. Moo, she tells the cows. That means goodbye in their language. Another cow appears. How many cows now, Tilly? That many fingers. And this is called An Lakesh, which means I am another yourself. And it's for Joanne Berger. Attempts to smuggle snuggles into her bed. One very little girl pregnant with cat. Excuse me, young lady, and just where do you think you're going with that cat? Cats is people's too, she sniffles. She's got me there. Cats is people's too. Her little logic slays me. Cat and girl, all legs and paws akimbo, dreaming the same dream. Tilly would come into her bedroom in the morning at 3 or 4 or 6 o'clock. She would climb over the mountain of flesh that we were. She would see us just as a fleshy landscape. She would step on very private parts of my anatomy, which I'm not about to mention now. My wife's left breast. It is a horrible way to wake up. You wake up... This has nothing to do with that. This is another time when we were at a cocktail party, darling, and we are very, very hungover. Tilly is still going to come into her bed at 4 o'clock and climb over the mountain that is us and wake us up. This is called I Feel Pretty, oh so pretty. I awake, covered in glorious glitter, smelling strongly of PVA glue, sticking to my cheek, very hungover, and covered in blue, orange, yellow, red feathers. A bubble recently blown perched upon my nose, I still half comatose. Tiny bubbles travel amongst my curls, as through a bigger bubble brightly, nestling neatly over my right eye, I observe my tiny daughter purse her lips and kiss more bubbles into being. Tilly, I force my lips, still frozen in sleep, to somehow speak. What you do? See, even my syntax and sentence structuring is shot. She smiles sweetly. I'm pitying you. Thank you. Acquiring language, acquiring verbs. This is called I is smiling. Everything always is, I is. As in, I is happy, is tired. Even to negate it is, I is not tired, I is not go to bed. With Churchillian scowl and foot stamp for emphasis. I used to love your construction, the simple syntax of your sentences. Tilly and mummy is girl? Dónall is not girl? Now I is remembering you just as you was. Recall your words just as they is. And I is smiling. Thank you. We went to a farm and she had never seen horses and pigs and everything. So it's very nice to see somebody see something for the first time. So, that's a cow, yeah, I've seen millions of cows, blah, blah, blah. But in Tilly's eyes, it's a whole new experience. This is called the smell of the light. Tilly tells me she adores the smell of the light. Watches intensely as I fiddle with the wick of her battered kerosene lamp. I smile as her eyes light up. Love how she loves everything with a passion. Adore is her newfound favourite word. So now she adores the rich ritual of lighting the lamp and all its accordant magic. Hand in hand we scatter the darkness that snarls and reluctantly backs away, but then creeps back behind us, its tongue lapping at us, licking its lips as it would swallow us up, but is afraid of the smelly light. The wind tries to blow us out. Scared, she clutches me all the tighter. I don't like the way the light makes the darkness darker. Her voice shivers. I catch her up in the crook of my arm. She cuddles closer as we walk on towards the barn, adrift in a sea of darkness. We, the only speck of light, no stars tonight. We, the light of the world, the pregnant cow lowing as if it knows we're coming. Tilly nuzzles into me, a frightened little mouse, jumping when an owl demands of us, hoo, hoo, hoo. Your chest is too tickly, she complains sleepily. Oh yes, my little chickadee, IWC feels her. This never fails to amuse her. Our intertwined laughter and the smell of the light dispelling the darkness. The pregnant cow delighted to see us. Thank you. There was a time when Tilly, when she was small, when she was a baby, came together with Tilly when she was grown up. 18 years have passed. This is called Here Now I Hold You. Here now I hold you, astonished at your newness. One hand cups your bum, the other cradles your head. You poop into my palm. You smile your smile, still unused to it, and it's magic. Wave a tiny, lazy hand as if you were a rival and I an adoring subject. The music of you plays in my mind as if I were a mechanical piano, notes played by invisible hands. Your skull has yet to get it together. The fontanelle pulsing as if each thought could be seen beating like a bird against my hushed fingertips. Years later, my hands so much older now, I cradle your crying. Stroke your punk-got hair as you weep over your first real boyfriend, he so obviously a jerk. Your constant wailing, why didn't it work? My fingertips caressing where thought once pushed. Your sweet secret self hidden from me now in your growing up. Thank you. Oh, here we are. How are we doing for time, Sean?
What time?
He said 20 minutes. He said 20 minutes.
Huh?
Last one.
Right, then it's only fitting that this indeed should be Sean's poem. Getting back to rivers and stealing them from atlases, well, kidnapping them, borrowing them from Atlas. I also glued them back into the book, which then stuck them to another country on the other page. This is my chosen means of travel. It's called Fingertip, and it's for Sean. As a little child, I travelled up and down the Ganges, her little sister Yamuna, her big brother Brahmaputra, their names upon my tongue, my voice calling them into being, awed by their sound, mantras for my mind, riding their waters in the little ship of a fingertip, travelling only as a child can. Now here I am, still that child, become this man, still offering my devotion to their sound. From the Dev Bhumi I come, tracing Shiva's hair from here to there, Ganga Ma, I cry, herding the river from Gamuk, watching her spread her fan into the Bay of Bengal and beyond, still sailing the same old fingertip ship. A bit old and battered now, soon I will stand on Indian soil, call all my childhood rivers to me, bow as they flow into me, their names upon my tongue, calling upon all the gods to come as one. Thank you.
Very good.
Should I put on the turban again for this?
Yep.
Yes? I stole this from Sean.
I enjoyed your poetry.
Thank you very much.
Especially when you write the books.
This side, come this side, no?
Oh, this side, yes.
That's better.
I don't know what this can possibly be. And the winner is... Why, it's me! Well, I take off my turban to you. It is to Sean and his two daughters, Dónall and Cushy, because I was very aware of his devotion to his daughters and his great love for his daughters. And I was writing about my daughter, and I thought, this is the man who I have to dedicate this book to. I thought, this is fantastic. Thank you very much.